You said 99 out of 100. What about the other time? The one!
The Netflix series Stranger Things is an absolute treat for the eyes. The story revolves around the adventures of 5 young children and features a fantastic curation of special effects. The supernatural sci-fi tale turns to both CGI as well as practical effects in the form of makeup and costumes to bring the story to life. The writer-director duo, the Duffer Brothers, knew from the get-go that Stranger Things was going to be a high-budget and high-effort production. So today we're going to look at what Stranger Things really looks like behind the scenes. But before that, a simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We're giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or a MacBook Pro. It's all your choice, but be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. It's really that simple. First up is the fact that the Duffer Brothers, Matt and Ross, did not want to use CGI. The twins wanted to limit the use of digital manipulation to only 20% of their effects. However, the end result ended up having more than 50% of the effects being CGI. One of the things that they insisted should be real-life stunt and not digitally done is the scene where Eleven flips a van. Towards the end of Season 1, the audience is made privy to the real extent of her powers. For this, the Duffer Brothers wrote a scene that involves her tossing a giant van full of bad guys through the air. This scene cost the production team thousands of dollars to create. The Duffer Brothers said that it was a spontaneous idea and that the line producer initially vetoed the idea, saying it was too dangerous and improbable to get right. However, they managed to convince the team, and the scene ended up costing them quite a few big bucks. The scene included both the child actors as well as the van. The Duffers shot the part of the kids separately, and in another shot they filmed the van being flipped in a loop-de-loop. The first trial of flipping the van went perfectly. It was done with setting up explosives under the vehicle at a particular angle. However, during the second go, when it was being filmed, one of the explosives didn't go off. This caused the van to get tossed on top of a camera, which resulted in massive costs. This again got the line producer iffy about creating the scene without CGI, but they convinced them to do one more take and perfected it. Another super cool behind-the-scenes fact is about the Duffer Brothers' brainchild monster, the Demogorgon. The monster was created with a unique mix of practical and CGI effects. The visual effects designer Stefan Reichstadt's team 3D printed several different versions of the monster. To be able to grow it in-house and see a design that we helped create from the very beginning printed right in front of us was kind of an amazing thing. The monster's head had over 30 motors to make it functional. This also allowed for each movement to be unique, and at no point are the movements on the petals of its face repeated in the show. The other practical effects of the Demogorgon include a real man playing the creature while wearing a very detailed, custom-made rubber suit. The monster apparently scared the younger kids on the set so much that the creators had to tell them that it was a friendly creature such as the ones in the popular children's movie Monsters, Inc. This made them feel a little more at ease, even if not entirely okay with the giant slimy creature. The show's alternate universe, the Upside Down, initially named the Nether, is also a marvel of CGI. Several actors have talked about how strange it is to be acting in a green screen set and to see it transform in the final shots after editing. David Harbour, who plays Chief Hopper in the series, describes the Upside Down as not scary at all. In the show, it's amazing and beautiful, but on the actual set, it's really silly. There's a bunch of purple piping that looks really fake and it pulsates, so it kind of feels like you're in a haunted house. For the spores, there's a dude with a big old pillowcase full of dandelions and a big fan. So you're walking down the hall and then this guy is just standing there blowing dandelions at you. Must be strange having dandelions floating around when you're trying to act terrified in a dark world full of deadly monsters. However, not every cool scene has such complicated executions. The scene where Eleven floats in a pool to mind travel to the Upside Down was achieved in a simple yet genius way. Millie Bobby Brown was made to float quickly enough by mixing over 1,200 pounds of Epsom salt into the kiddie pool. The sensory deprivation tank is one of the coolest aspects of the show and yet works on reasonably simple physics. One of the characters on the show that made a significant impact with very little screen time was Barb, Nancy Wheeler's outcast best friend. The character, played by Shannon Purser, struck a chord with audiences for being relatable. When she was killed off for the plot, fans started a hashtag called Justice for Barb and got it trending on Twitter. An interesting fact about Barb's death scene is that it is really a lot more simple than the final shots would have you think. Barb being dragged off to be killed is super dramatic in the final product, but was filmed with just a few action hands pulling Shannon by her feet and dragging her across the floor. Additionally, the gory scene where her body is in the first scene in Season 2 was quite hard to shoot. Each take involved putting green gunk in the actress' mouth for her to spit out to show her decaying corpse. However, Shannon Purser said in an interview that although the green goop looked disgusting, it didn't taste that bad as it was made of a combination of edible things. Pulser also had to quit her day job at a movie theater because Stranger Things fans kept showing up at her place of work. The series has always given attention to detail. This allowed it to have an authentic period feel that led to fans saying that Stranger Things brought the 80s into current popular entertainment. This effect was primarily due to the colorist on the show dedicatedly using 80s film grain on each and every frame of the show to give it an authentic vibe. Several scenes were also shot in locations which added to the 80s feel, such as the mall in the third season, which is shot in an 80s themed actual mall. The sets and props are also, for the most part, real vintage items which the production team found on eBay and other vintage sites. Adding the fashion and hairstyles from the period allowed the entire aesthetic to be well-rounded in the period the show is set in. The production team was given a budget of $200,000. While this is no small amount, it is quite hard to cover an entire 8-hour season with this amount. However, the production team proved their mettle by creating beautiful and detailed sets with the amount. An interesting fact is that the entirety of Chief Hopper's trailer cabin cost the team only $1. The cabin where Eleven is confined is also part of an actual Stranger Things themed escape room. So if fans think they can survive the attacks of the monster better than the stars themselves, they can try out their skills in the exact same location. Another interesting behind-the-scene fact is that the kid actors all went to school and studied together. Since filming took up a lot of time, the child actors studied on set a lot of the time. This meant that even if some of them didn't have many scenes together, they all hung out together anyway. This is especially true for Millie Bobby Brown, whose character Eleven spends a lot of time in isolation. The teenage actress said in interviews that this didn't affect her on set much, since she was allowed to roam around and interact with the other actors. They mostly did pre-algebra together, something none of them were understandably very fond of. A lot of the young cast also did their auditions via sending in tapes. Gatton Matarazzo, who plays Dustin in the series, was chosen after the Duffer Brothers saw just one of his videos. He didn't even have a callback. The twin directors said that they simply knew he had that special something that they wanted in the show. Another of the child stars, Finn Wolfhard, filmed his audition tape from bed because he was too sick at the time. The brothers were familiar with his work, however, since he starred in the hit film It, which the Duffer Brothers had pitched to direct before getting shot down and turning to Stranger Things. Sadie Sink, a young actress who joined the series in later seasons, almost didn't get the role. The writers were worried that she was too tall and didn't want to make her do a second reading, thinking they wouldn't be able to cast her even if she was right for the part. Thankfully, the rest of the crew grew to match her height before filming, and the young actress joined the team. Sadie, Gatton, and Caleb McLaughlin, who plays Lucas Sinclair, all got their starts acting on Broadway before being cast on the show. The seasons of the show are also named in a certain way because the Duffer Brothers want the fans to think of it as one long movie instead of several seasons of a show. Anyway, that wraps up the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.